Good morning, students. Welcome to the biology class. We are continuing with our chapter 6 life processes, and today we are going to discuss mechanism in respiration. So after discussing about the various parts of the human respiratory system, today we will discuss about the functioning of the respiratory system known as mechanism of respiration. Mechanism of respiration involves two steps. The first is breathing and number two is transport of gases, means oxygen and carbon dioxide. Breathing. Breathing is a mechanical process and it involves two steps, or you can say the two phases. That is, inspiration means intake of fresh air. Expiration means exhale out of the air. So first we will discuss about the inspiration. During inspiration, thoracic cavity expands by contraction of intercostal muscles, which raise the ribs and sternum upward, forward and outward. Diaphragm becomes flattened, thus the volume of thoracic cavity increases, lungs expand and air pressure in the lungs decreases. So with the flattening of the diaphragm, what is diaphragm? That is a muscular dome-shaped structure which divides the thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity, and with the flattening of that, the volume of thoracic cavity increases, lungs expand and air pressure decreases. So inside our body, the pressure decreases. As a result, we inhale fresh air from air passage into the lungs, and that fills your alveoli. So during the inspiration, the contraction of intercostal muscles which are being present between the ribs, they contract, they raise the ribs, sternum upward, forward and outward. Because of that, the volume of thoracic cavity increases, whereas pressure decreases, as well as we inhale the fresh air from the atmosphere into the lungs through the air passage, and that fills the alveoli. That process is known as inspiration. Next is expiration. During expiration, volume of thoracic cavity decreases by relaxation of intercostal muscle, which push the ribs inward and backward. So this is just the opposite of the inspiration. Volume of thoracic cavity decreases by the relaxation of intercostal muscles and which push the ribs inward and backward. Flattened diaphragm becomes dome-shaped, lungs contract and air pressure in the lungs increases. Now there the volume decreases and the pressure increases. As a result, the air is pushed or exhaled out. So in this image you can see the first is your inspiration. That is, during the inspiration, the intercostal muscles. So intercostal muscles, they are going to contract, and because of that, the volume of thoracic cavity going to be increased. The diaphragm is going to be flattened. The volume is going to increase. The pressure is going to be decreased. Because of that, we will inhale the air from the surrounding into the lungs. Whereas in the expiration, the diaphragm is going to be dome shaped, that is going to be relaxed. The ribs and the sternums are again going to be inward, and the volume is going to be decreased, the pressure is going to be increased, and because of that we expel the air from our body to the surrounding. So this is the mechanism of breathing, inspiration and expiration. The next is transport of gases. So once we inhale the air, means the oxygen being inhaled, it is present in our alveoli, and now how this oxygen is going to be transported into our body, that is known as the oxygen transport. And after the utilizing of the oxygen, how the CO2 will be exhaled out, that is the transport of the carbon dioxide. So first we discuss about the oxygen transport. As we know, the hemoglobin, which gives a color to our blood, that is RBCs, is known as a respiratory pigment, and they has a very high affinity for oxygen. Means as we inhale the O2, O2 is going to attach with, it going to be affinity, means it going to be attached with the hemoglobin which is present in the blood. So when oxygen enter the blood capillaries, and from blood capillaries from the alveolar air, it combines with the hemoglobin to form the oxyhemoglobin, because oxygen is not being transported in free form, it is being transported in the combined form, in the associated form with the hemoglobin. So the main function of hemoglobin is the transport of the oxygen. Similarly, the main function of RBCs is the transport of the gases. So when the blood carrying oxyhemoglobin reaches the tissue, and due to the low oxygen concentration in the tissues, the oxyhemoglobin breakdown with the release of the oxygen, and the free oxygen is then available to the body cell. So the transport of the oxygen is in the associated form, and that associated form is known as oxyhemoglobin. But once they reach to the tissues, to the organs where they have to pass the oxygen, then the hemoglobin and oxygen they dissociates. Only oxygen is available to the cell, which is utilized by the body organs, which is utilized by the body cell to carry out their metabolic activities, that is called as an oxidation, and that will form CO2, H2O and energy. And that energy, that is ATP, is being utilized. Water is a part of our body, and now this CO2 is to be exhaled out. So CO2 from the body organ has to reach to the lungs, and that is known as the carbon dioxide transport. So in this image you can see that is oxygen from the lungs passes into the capillaries, into the blood, that is your red blood cells, where they are being associated with the hemoglobin and transport as the oxyhemoglobin to the organs. And because of the difference in the pressure or the concentration of the oxygen, oxyhemoglobin dissociates, only oxygen is available to the organs. Next is transport of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is soluble in water, and that's why it is mostly transported in dissolved form in the blood. So you can see veins on your body, that is on your hand you can see the veins, and they are of a green color. Why they are green color? Because they are having a dissolved carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide is being transported in the dissolved form, and that is being reached to your lungs, and then they are being dissociated and then exhaled out. Some amount of CO2 is also transported by the hemoglobin, but a very less amount. Maximum amount of the CO2 is being transported in the dissolved form, and that's why the blood with the CO2 is in the green form, which is being transported through the veins. As we know, the veins carries the impure blood because they are carrying the CO2, whereas the arteries carries the pure blood because in the arteries we are having the oxygen. Oxygen is transported in the associated form, whereas CO2 is transported in the dissolved form, that is in the blood. So how the transportation takes place, that is with the help of the hemoglobin, that is your oxygen, and the dissolved form is your carbon dioxide. So the breathing means respiration. When we inhale the oxygen by the process of inspiration, that oxygen becomes a part of our body. That is called as an oxidation of the food. And during the oxidation, that is with the attachment with the presence of oxygen, CO2, water and energy is being formed. This water is being utilized by the body, energy in the form of ATP is being utilized by the body, and CO2 is again transported in dissolved form to the lungs, and then expiration takes place. So this is the complete mechanism of respiration. But as it is going on in the uninterrupted manner, means there is no interruption कि ऑक्सीजन आएगी फिर वो जाएगी फिर CO2 आएगा, इसके बीच में कहीं पे गैप नहीं आता है. What is the reason that the process of respiration is uninterrupted? Because in the alveoli there is some amount of air always present. हमारे लंग्स, हमारी एल्वोलाई कभी भी बिना एयर के नहीं होती हैं. एवरी टाइम जब हम कहें कि बहुत जोर से सांस लो, तब भी बहुत जोर से सांस लेने के बाद भी हमारे एल्वोलाई में कुछ अमाउंट ऑफ एयर हमेशा रहता है, जो हमारी रेस्पिरेशन को बिना किसी रुकावट के, बिना किसी इंटरप्शन पे कंटिन्यूस होने देता है. सो दैट amount, that volume of air is known as the residual volume. So what is residual volume? Residual volume refers to the volume of air that always remains in the lungs even after the air is let out forcefully. There is a residual volume of air in the lungs so that there is a sufficient time for oxygen to be absorbed from it and for carbon dioxide to be released into it from the blood. So this is the role of residual volume. This is the significance of residual volume. Why the residual volume is so important? Because that helps the lungs for the sufficient time for oxygen to be absorbed and carbon dioxide to be released into it from the blood, so that the respiration should continue. There should be no interruption during the mechanism of the respiration. So with this we finish our very important life process, that is the respiration, in which we discussed about the process of respiration, what is respiration, various pathways, that is aerobic, anaerobic, along with the lack of oxygen. Then we discuss about the respiration in the plant, that is stomata and lenticles. Respiration in animals, we are having different respiratory organs, the characteristics of the various respiratory organs. Then we discuss about the human respiratory system, the function of each and every part of the respiratory system, and then we discuss about the mechanism, that is breathing and transport of gases, inspiration, expiration, transport of oxygen, transport of carbon dioxide. Along with that, what is residual volume and what is its significance. So I hope that it is being clear. So please copy all this content in your notebook along with the diagram, and please go through the NCERT in-text question as well as the exercise question. I try to cover each and every question in your content given in the PPTs. Try to attempt them, and next we will have our Zoom class to clear your doubt. Till then, thank you.